Okay, we're reconvening from our closed session with our new system here, our audio-visual system, or at least mostly audio. I guess the video portion is coming later. And I'd like to ask Trustee Lang to report out any actions in closed session.
Remember how to turn my mic on here. There were no actions reportable out of closed session.
Thank you. And now I will ask that we all rise for the invocation from Trustee Jay, and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by me.
Our Heavenly Father, we bow our heads in gratefulness for the new year which is just beginning. We thank Thee so much for the community support and effort to provide quality education and workforce development. We are so grateful for our wonderful students and who attend our colleges. We are grateful for the wonderful staff, faculty, and our faculty and administrators for outstanding professional development week and flex week, and for those that work so hard to put on this event. We are thankful for the many hours and hours of the faculty and staff who work so hard and diligently on the excellent accreditation report. We appreciate their hard work. We ask that you be with us, with the board tonight, to help us make proper and righteous decisions for the future direction of our colleges and students. We ask that you be with us, be with this nation at this time, so we can come together as one and work together for freedom, fairness, and justice for all. Amen.
Amen. Please join with me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to our great nation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I see that we have one request for public comment, and it's from Sessa Hurd Johnson. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
All right. From Irvine Valley College.
Hello, thank you so very much. Sessa Hurd Johnson, Director of Student Life and Equity Programs. I'm just here today to have members of our IVC Homecoming Court introduce themselves. As you all know, we have homecoming game February 8th of this year, and so we at IVC have reinstituted our homecoming king and queen process, and so I just want to have them introduce themselves and their year in school. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Before I start, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming and thank you for your time. My name is James Tribby. I'm currently a first-year student at IVC. I am a part of the Budget and Finance Committee, and I would say something I really enjoy about the school is it really promotes a strong academic presence, and it really gives everyone like a sense of togetherness, and everyone's very supportive of each other. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello and good evening. This is Omid Mohammadi. I'm the Student Government Director of Facilities and Technology. I'm a second-year biology student, very busy. I'm taking 26 units. I've been to many different colleges, but what I love about our college is that if there is a concern or opinion, our management team, especially Dr. Rockmore, I've talked to him, are very open to hear what the students think.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mark Prismic. I'm a business science major. I'm also the chairman of the Student Advocate Committee and Associated Student Government of IVC, and I'm also an IVC ambassador. What I really enjoy about IVC is that it provides everybody incredible opportunities no matter what circumstances you're in or no matter where you are. So it's great. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Berkeley Velez. It's my last semester at IVC. I'll make it quick so everyone can go. But I'm a political science major, and there are so many clubs and extracurriculars on campus that have really allowed me to develop my skills in the field and further my career. So I really appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Roberts, and I'm a sociology major. It's taking me a little bit longer to get through school. I have 5 kids, so I am third year IVC, and I am honored to be a part of the homecoming court, and I appreciate and am excited to represent our diverse community college. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I doubt anyone will remember me after this, but I would love to talk a little bit about myself. My name is Ryan Salmasi. I'm a second-year business administration student at IVC. I graduated from Beckman High School in Irvine in 2015. I'm currently a commissioner in the Student Activities Committee as well as a public relations representative. And I'm really passionate. One very particular reason why I'm passionate about IVC that resonates very deeply with me that I'd love to share is throughout my time growing up in Irvine, I grew up in Irvine from elementary school onward. I have a very close, strong connection to the Persian community of the city of Irvine, from outside connections, family and whatnot. But as I got more involved in my high school, I tended to focus more on my high school friends more than my Iranian friends. And I didn't see myself coming to IVC, but now that I'm here, I think of it as a great opportunity to rekindle with the people that I've always known of but never had the opportunity to really meet. So I'm very thankful for that. Thank you.
That was Ryan. My name is Arnold Way. I am a first year at IVC. I'm a business major, and I'm a part of the Community Outreach Committee. And one thing about IVC that I really love is the fact that you have so many opportunities given to you as a student. You know, as a person who didn't get into my dream colleges, I think that IVC gives me that second chance that I really needed. And not to mention, it helps a student grow not only socially, but academically. And that's something that I really appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your enthusiasm. Excellent. Okay, now we're going to move on to board reports. And we'll kick off with Trustee Prendergast.
All right. Well, that was very entertaining. I only really was able to attend one event since the last board meeting. I was actually teaching during the professional development week, so I wasn't able to make any of those events. But the President's Cup, the first basketball game, I was able to make it to that over the break, and IVC's got their work cut out for them at second round coming up. I assume that's where we hear which one of those individuals wins the King and Queen at that event. So wish them luck, and I'll be there to do that. We have the Astounding Inventions coming up this weekend. I'll be there for that as well.
Trustee Jay.
I attended many of the college events during the Flex Week and the Professional Development Week. On the 10th, January 10th, on Tuesday, I attended the Irvine Valley President's Breakfast and President Rockmore's welcoming address, which was on campus activities and accomplishments. We learned much about the accreditation and hard work and many hours that went into the report. The presentation was very informative. That IVC had worked a year and a half on the accreditation report, which is coming up next month. We had a fun quiz on accreditation. It was made up by Dr. Chris McDonald, which was very educational and lots of fun. We learned so much from this. Okay, I also learned about this card. It's the compliment, complaint, and comment card, which I thought was very, very interesting, and that is available throughout the campus, so that we can get an idea of what's going on in the campus. On Wednesday, January the 11th, I attended the Faculty Association Luncheon negotiation town hall hosted by Mark Bletham and Lewis Long at Saddleback College to gather input for the upcoming contract negotiations. There were many great suggestions and questions asked. A lot of the questions were about part-time faculty benefits. I also attended the CalSTRS retirement workshop presented by Michael Lynch. It was a very good workshop, and I didn't know that CalSTRS had an office in Irvine on Main Street. Michael made the process very simple and was he has a gift for communicating. On the 12th of January, a Thursday, I attended the Saddleback College President's Faculty Breakfast hosted by Todd and the Academic Senate, Kim D'Arce. It was an update discussion of key issues impacting the college over the coming semester. What was really interesting was that we had a presentation by Dr. Horwell from Saddleback College Health Center discussing mental health and how it impacted the student population. All kinds of help is offered at the center, and Dr. Horwell has offered to go and speak to the classes if the family wants it. I feel this was a great idea and service, and again, very informative for the board members that were there. Also, we had an accreditation update information from Dr. Juan Avalos. We had talks about the 4 standards from the standard chairs, which was impressive, and also we learned what the team what will happen when the team comes to the site visit. Thursday evening, that same day, I attended the part-time faculty dinner, which was featured a resource fair with information on important college resources. Again, President Burnett talked about issues facing the college, but also at this, for the part-time faculty, Dr. Horwell gave her presentation again on mental health and how it affects college students and the resources that were available for all the part-time teachers.
Thank you, Trustee Jay. I also attended many activities within the Flex Week period. The IVC President's opening session breakfast, Faculty Association lunch, Saddleback College faculty breakfast, and the part-time faculty dinner. All I thought were good events, well attended. I agree with you at the unions, the faculty associations lunch. There were a lot of interesting suggestions, one of which I think we can already agree on is that we want a faster collective bargaining process. So I think you'll have unanimous support on that front. I also attended an event hosted by the Saddleback College Foundation at Anthony Ferry's residence over the holidays, who's now the board chair of the foundation, and I thank him for doing that. It was, I think, an interesting gathering of board members from the foundation and trustees from here. A few of us were there as well. And then I also attended the swearing in of someone who used to hold this seat, Don Wagner, who's now the mayor of Irvine. We now have someone who is a friend at the helm at Irvine, and I think there'll be a lot of good opportunities to cooperate with him in the city over the next year and next few years. And then lastly, just to report on, I think we're having a very healthy process to select a new chancellor. We've had several meetings. There is a search committee in place. The interim chancellor is doing a bang-up job, both in her job as interim chancellor, but in helping steer the process forward to get the next chancellor in place. So this is a top priority for this board. It's been transparent, and interviews will start shortly. And we're hopeful we're going to get someone in place when the next academic year starts. And I think very excited about that prospect. Thank you very much. Trustee Wright.
Thank you very much. I was privileged also to attend the President's Cup basketball games that were held at Saddleback College. That was done on Thursday, January the 6th. TJ Pendergast indicated that IVC has their work cut out for them. Saddleback won both the women's and men's basketball game this time. I was amazed by the score for the men. The final score was 44-34. That's very low. That's almost like a first half score, but it was a struggle. I think part of that is because the Saddleback and IVC know each other very well, so they know their weaknesses and their strengths. I attended a number of events during the in-service. There were about, I think I counted, I went to about 14 different events. I won't list all of them, but the highlight I thought was going to the IVC President's Breakfast and then the welcome back, particularly the accreditation presentation was superb. We also had a speech in the afternoon talking about the process of free speech. This was with Sharon Ormond, and it was very well done and very well attended. I attended the following sessions at Saddleback College the next day, the one done on the U.S. military veterans in their classrooms, and I thought it was very well done. And also the Faculty Association Luncheon and Negotiation Town Hall meeting. I attended Saddleback's College President's Faculty Breakfast and also their accreditation update. Both colleges have done a wonderful job with their accreditation self-study. They're both of them are very well done. I just wanted to comment that I also attended another men's basketball game on Cypress College. That was last Wednesday, January the 18th. And Saddleback won again. Now, Saddleback's basketball team is doing very well. Their record is 19-2. I think they're ranked either number 1 or number 2 in the state. And finally, I was privileged on Friday, January the 20th, to meet as one of the board executive officers in attending the Chancellor Search Committee, an update on what's happening there. And as President Jemal said, the search is going along very, very well. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Lang.
Thank you. First of all, best wishes to one and all on a healthy and successful 2017. Unfortunately, I missed many of the Flex Week activities because I was personally convalescing during that period. I'm also still reeling from the embarrassing loss that my Pittsburgh Steelers experienced yesterday at the hands of the New England Patriots, and will speak no more on that subject. I will, however, briefly comment on the Rose Bowl. Although that was a great game, I have to admit that I was disappointed that my undergraduate alma mater, Penn State, lost to my graduate school alma mater, USC. However, what made it even more interesting was that the field goal at the end, which proved to be the margin of victory, was kicked by a transfer student from Saddleback College. The semester, of course, is now in full swing, as you've heard, with a lot of activities underway, including the Chancellor's search and audit committee selection of new auditors and a myriad of other activities that I will be involved with to a greater or lesser extent. Also, I think we're all concerned about understanding and trying to influence federal and California funding for public education, which is certainly one of the topics I think that's topmost on many of our minds. I do look forward to working with all my colleagues on this board to help make this year a good one for all our students and district constituents. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Milchiker.
Thank you. First, I also want to welcome everybody back to spring semester 2017. I, too, attended the Saddleback College Foundation event at Anthony Ferry and his wife Carrie's house, which helped raise an incredible amount of money for Saddleback College students for their scholarships. If people, I'm so glad that so many board members are attending so many of the professional development week activities, because if anybody doubts that our teachers don't work hard, if you would attend the meeting, you'd see the hard work, the excellence, and the incredible value that we get from all of our staff members and our professors. Some of the events that I attended, which really kind of expressed some of the really important things that are going on at our colleges, were on one day I attended all the events at Irvine Valley College, and that was President Rockmore's breakfast. And then Chris McDonald talked about accreditation and handed out a very, very, very useful booklet that everyone can use to, when the accreditation team comes, to have that be kind of a little way to quickly learn what we need to talk to the accreditation team. There also, as was mentioned before, a lecture on free speech by Sharon Oman. This is a very important issue now. We're bringing Erwin Chemerinsky back to talk about it to various staff members. With so many cell phones in so many classrooms, really we have to know what is the free speech issues and what we need to do about them. And they're very complex issues, and more complex today than they've ever been before. So I attended the Geek Report with Bob Bermucci and Jim Gaston, who talked about the student success that they're creating at both colleges through the IT program, through my site, and Sherpa, and so the many different programs that we have to help our students succeed. Dr. Dan Roulet at Irvine Valley College talked about how disadvantaged students can be helped through learning composition at Irvine Valley College. Not only disadvantaged students, but all students can be helped in this way. At Saddleback College, I attended the Honors Program Open House given by Ilana Rosenberg and Scott Farthing. Talked about how they're getting their honor students into really top colleges, locally and nationwide. The Faculty Association Luncheon, the President Breakfast at both colleges, the Part-Time Faculty Dinner, and then I attended several workshops. One was the after-school experience, how we're having after-school programs at all the Capistrano Unified School Districts given by our schools for students after school, and these students are potential Saddleback College students, and the global education programs at Saddleback College. I'll finish with that one. Who the head of the international student program is Angela Yang, and there was a panel of international students from different countries from all over the world, and they were delightful and talked about their wonderful experiences at international students at Saddleback College. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Witt.
Good evening. I'm going to say ditto to ditto, ditto, ditto. I won't repeat myself, but I did want to add, I really enjoyed the presentation at IVC for their opening, and I learned how to want to be a millionaire. I had never seen that program before on television, and as Chris McDonald said, we have to have fun, and I could see that the students that came here from IVC had fun and put it in front of us, and I really enjoyed that. The Saddleback breakfast was great, and I really enjoyed the presentation of the 4 standards from the Saddleback's campus. I also spent a morning with the Saddleback Foundation Director, Don Rickner, this past week and learned more about the foundation. I have a very busy week ahead. I will be going to the Orange County Department of Education, to the Orange County School Board to attend that meeting because I'm one of the district representatives. I'm going to be attending the Saddleback Foundation's members meeting. It starts at 7:30 this week. And I'm going to have something really fun on Saturday. I welcome all of you to come. I'm one of the judges for the Invention Day at IVC from K through 8. And having been in the science fair myself when I was in the 7th and 8th grade, I am so excited. I mean, if you've ever been a participant in the science fair, it is exciting as a child, and now I'm going to be excited as a judge. Thank you.
Thank you. Student Trustee Ford.
So I didn't go to any of those things. I was sick, like through finals, it was terrible. So I got a bad cold, winter, you know. But I'm like really excited to be back. I'm sure my contemporaries are not. They're like, oh, school. Like during the winter break, I was just like, what am I doing? There's nothing to do all day. And so I was excited to get back. Classes are great. I'm excited to see all the changes going on in ASG. I'm looking forward to the semester. It's going to be great. I'm going to do a little plug here. So one of the other organizations I'm a part of at our campus is called Psi Beta. It's a National Honor Society in Psychology, and I'm the president of that organization. And what's great is recently, I think, she's not here tonight, I don't see her. IVC Foundation, all of the IVC Foundation outstanding persons or spectacular persons, I forget what the name of the award is, received it. We're part of Psi Beta. So yeah, our vice president got the student, our advisor, the head of the psychology department got the teacher, faculty member, and then our dean got the administrator of the year. So, yeah, go Psi Beta. It was great.
I'm just looking forward to this semester and as it has. So, yeah.
Thank you. Now we have the Chancellor's report.
Okay. It's just really great to see everybody back for spring semester, energized, all the students and faculty energized and excited for the spring semester. So, and the parking lot's full, so that's really good to see. We have a presentation this evening as part of item 7 for ADA transition plan. So we have Brandy Delana and Mark Schopner, as well as our consultants here to do a presentation on that. That's been long overdue, and was such a good example of how we worked really well together as a district, both colleges, staff at district services, and consultants to pull this together. And it's a really important plan. So I'm looking forward to that presentation. And we have a special board meeting of the trustees on February 8th. We're going to continue our board training. And part of that training is preparing the board for accreditation as well. So I'll be talking to the colleges on how we can do that for part of that session. And then the remainder session is sort of continuing along some of the training that they want to have. And lastly, I'm going to ask CM Brombutt, Vice Chancellor of Business Services, to provide a short overview of the governor's budget proposal and the impact to the district. With that, CM.
Good evening. January 10th, the governor have presented the budget for 2017-18, as you all know. Governor did mention that now that we have a robust 5 years in the budget. This is the first time that they are seeing the declining in our revenue, our overall budget. They are expecting overall budget probably about $5 billion lesser revenue for the next year rather than what we have this year. Governor is presenting 1.48% COLA, which is a $94 million, which will provide the Saddleback College with $2.2 million worth of COLA. Sorry about our mic maybe not working as thoroughly. We also have 1.34% growth for the system, but we are not expecting any funds for the Saddleback College. We are still behind in terms of our growth projections. We are also losing some one-time funding. We have lost money for our instructional equipment dollars. This year we got almost $4 million. Next year we may be only getting $1 million because the governor is decreasing by $134 million system-wide. We are also losing the funds for the mandated cost reimbursement, which was provided on a one-time basis, system-wide about $105 million. So in one hand, we're getting the COLA, there's the growth money, but in the other hand, we are losing the one-time money which is provided to the system year-to-year basis. At the same time, we just want you to know that this may impact for us to kind of keep up with our salary increases and benefits for us to balance our 17-18 budget. There will be some challenges that we will be looking at it. But good thing is that Proposition 55 did pass, as you already know, in November election. So that does guarantee us for the funding, EPA funding until the year 2030. So there are some. So these are the mixed feelings. In the governor's budget, everybody knows that now it may be some lean year ahead of us if the revenues don't materialize. This is just a starting point. We will wait until the May revise, and at that time we will know more revenues and the picture will be more clear. On the other note, the governor only picked up 5 projects for the capital outlay program. I just want you to know that even though we have our Proposition 51 pass, governor is not supporting, at least at the present time, for any major capital outlay programs for 17-18 years. This may change because I did attend the governor's budget workshop, and everyone with a single voice asking for more funds for the capital outlay program. We do have 2 projects lined up for those particular capital outlay programs. I just want to know that our projects are not in queue, at least as the budget is being presented for 17-18. So those are my comments.
Thank you, CM. Now we'll have the college president's reports, and it looks like it'll be Carol Hilton on behalf of Todd Burnett. for Saddleback College.
Yes, thank you. It is on behalf of Todd. President Burnett currently is out of state. He's in Washington, D.C., with the Director of Student Life and 8 students. And they attended the inauguration of President-elect Trump, who now is President Trump. And the students plan next month to provide some information to the board about their experiences and what they learned while they were there. Of course, President Burnett has leveraged his time, and he has visited, amongst many others, with Martha Cantor, to the former Undersecretary, who is now the Americans Promise Program lead. So he's been meeting with many people out there as well. And I believe he's back tomorrow. So the start of the spring semester went very well, despite the rains. We've been on tree watch, so we've taken a few trees down and cleared up some mud, but other than that, we're doing very well. So I'm not going to go into Professional Development Week, but it was very successful. And I think the presentation by Dr. Jeannie Harris-Caldwell about the non-academic barriers to student success was very enlightening, and really spoke to how many students we have that are facing significant and profound challenges trying to get their education. So we're looking forward to doing more work on that to assist with student success. And on a sad note, one of our valued colleagues, Ed DeLao, otherwise known as Eddie, our grants analyst at Saddleback College, sadly he passed away on January 2nd. And so he'll be greatly missed, not only because he is such a great grants analyst and brought a great perspective and was very helpful in securing very many grants at Saddleback, he was just a very good colleague, and so he'll be very, very sadly missed.
Thank you for that report. And I assume when the students come back, they'll give us an unfettered count of how many people attended the inauguration.
Well, actually, we did ask them to count, so they've been, checking off. So hopefully,
I trust them the most.
Yeah.
President Rockmore.
All right, good evening, everyone. Getting used to this new microphone here. First of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't say how great it is to be sharing space here with Carol Hilton, a longtime colleague and friend. And so this is definitely a real pleasure this evening. Thanks to everybody who attended the professional development days, not just the opening session, but other portions of that. And for those that did attend the opening session, you did get a little bit of an introduction to what might be happening when the team comes. And so we're shifting from the writing portion, and we're finished with that, and now we're preparing so that we can be really at our best when they're here doing their work. The Astounding Inventions is in fact this weekend, and we're going to have the largest number of outside, not vendors, but demonstrations in the STEM areas, and so that should be great for the students and the parents as well, and it's really a great event to do that. Finally, the storm hit IVC pretty hard. But we must be in some kind of corridor, because I remember back in 1995 or so, we had a water spout that took the roof off of a couple of condos right next door to us. But this time that blew down 26 trees, and actually a couple of them hit a car. Thankfully, it was on a Friday, so there weren't many cars in the parking lot. So we have most of it cleaned up, and the doors are open. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Glenn. Now we have Associated Student Government reports, and I think we'll start out with Saddleback College.
Hello, everyone. So as Carol said, we were very lucky to have 9 students attend the inauguration last week. The students are actually back because we had to go to school today. So Ray and I attended, and we had 7 other of our peers. So we will be back next week, so I won't give too many details. Other than that, it was incredible, a very, very cool experience. We just got back yesterday, so I'm still a little bleary-eyed. I have much more trouble adjusting back from East Coast to West Coast. So at 5 p.m., I was getting real tired. So I have this. But we'll be back next month.
There's no coffee allowed at the boardroom. I'm just kidding.
Too bad. Um, so we'll be back next week to share some more photos and stories, but it was wonderful. We got to attend the inauguration, a California State Society luncheon, a reception with Representative Walters, lots of cool experiences. So we'll go into much further detail about that next month, and all the students will be here, which will be great. We have been off to a great start. Obviously, a few of us were gone next week, but we still hosted some Welcome Week activities despite the rain. Luckily, everybody came together, jumped in to adjust what we had planned on the quad to move it upstairs, but still went really well. And we're just working on getting ready for the semester. Everyone presented their plans at our spring retreat. We have a lot of great things coming up. And I actually just found out today that I am a recipient of a fellowship with the Foundation for Civic Impact again. So I'm one of 24 students from 14 colleges. So the civic impact projects will not be stopping. We'll continue with that in the next semester. So I will be looking forward to sharing what we will do for that as well. But we'll be back next month with more about the inauguration.
Thank you. Now we have ASG IVC.
Hi, good evening. My name is Alvin Ng. I was the former Vice President of Budget and Finance. I've been taking over as the ASG President as Daviana has resigned from her position earlier this month. We are truly grateful for Daviana's work at IVC, and we wish her well in her future endeavors. Closing out to 2016, we did a community service called Operation Christmas Child, which essentially are shoe boxes that were distributed to individuals, which then were filled with gifts of their choice and were sent to underprivileged children overseas for Christmas. We had over 127 students and faculties participated in these first-time events. Next, in order to improve our performance as an ASG, we did a student leader evaluations, and in between January 30th and February 3rd, we're going to have an evaluation meeting, and we look forward to improve our interactions with students as a result of having the feedbacks from these evaluations. Also, we're excited to have a homecoming court this year. They were members that were voted by the student in November of this past year, and top 5 were chosen in king and queen categories. They will have a final interview with a homecoming committee, and winners will be crowned at the homecoming games on Wednesday, February 8th. Lastly, our ASG of IVC Equity Book Club has, and our student equity education program distributed a book called Paying the Price, College Costs, Financial Aid, and the Betrayal of American Dream to each member of ASG of IVC. This essentially is a way to educate members about issues of classes, socioeconomic inequity, and the impact that has on college students. And this book will help IVC students understand the diverse and complex issues students face as barriers to obtaining the educations. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think now we are on to board requests for reports, and I think we do have a request. Yeah, there's so we do have a board request for a report. Trustee Witt, would you like to summarize your request?
Yes, I can find it. Here we go. I have asked for a report to discuss the increasing impact of the homeless on our campuses, the homeless students. And I believe that we have a sincere problem with mental illness, drug and alcohol abuse, everywhere, but I am focused in on our campuses. And I really would like to have a detailed report about this, because I think we really can meet that need. I really do. And everyone thinks that South Orange County is so you can finish that. And we have about 600 homeless on this campus. And I didn't know if you knew that, but I think that needs to be addressed. So we're going to have a presentation maybe next month or 2 months.
What's the timeline for it?
I did talk to the 2 college presidents, and they talked to their staff. We're looking at the March board meeting.
March,
Yeah.
that would be great. Thank you very much.
Okay, so do we have a board request for report? Do we have a motion?
So move.
We have a motion from, well,
We
under our
do
new
it-
system, the
Yeah, the new
motion
system.
is
Okay,
trustee
never mind.
Prendergast. And, sorry, trustee Milchiker.
It's okay.
And a second
I
from
can take it.
trustee Wright. Any further discussion? Seeing none, go ahead and cast your vote. And we have a unanimous trustee yes vote. And student advisory? Just do this. Thumbs up? So this is up, yes? This is abstain? This is no. All right. Okay. Excellent. Let's move on now to the consent calendar. Do I have any polls? I'm going to pull 5.4.
I would like to pull 510 and 513.
I'd like to
510 and 513.
I'd like to pull 5-4.
I already did.
Oh, you did. Thank
Yep.
you.
We did. We
Not
pulled-
5-5.
Okay. 5.5 is pulled.
I'd like to pull 514.
514. Okay. Any other polls? Is there a motion to move the remainder of the items? There is, trustee. Oh, man. Okay, motion from trustee Wright, second from trustee Prendergast. Any further discussion? So the items that have been pulled are 5.4, 5.5, 5.10, 5.13, and 5.14. You had another poll? You're good?
Motion is for the balance of the.
The motion is for the balance of the items that have not been pulled. Please cast your vote. We have a unanimous trustee yes vote and student advisory yes vote. All right. Let's go to 5.4. I had asked to be pulled, but I think Marcia,
I did too, yeah.
why don't you go ahead?
Well, I think it's actually great that we're getting a $300,000 grant. And I see some of the people that have written that are in the audience, so I know that they'll be able to answer some of the questions. I just wondered how you're planning on implementing this. This is for helping our community youth succeed. People in foster care, people in low income, and seems like a worthy goal.
So I have asked Israel Dominguez from Saddleback College, as well as John Osted from the District Procurement Office, to sort of go over what this is, what the award is, the contract, as well as the relationship with Goodwill and how that works.
Great. Thanks. Well, I'll try to give you a good overview. The primary overview of this grant is for to provide services to out-of-school youth ages 17 to 24. And these are individuals with many barriers to employment. Very difficult audience to reach, and kind of to a point earlier made on mental illness and homelessness, a lot of these people fall into that category. We partnered with Goodwill Industries of Orange County because that's an organization that has extensive experience in working with these targeted populations that are hard to reach. At Saddleback College, we didn't have that experience, so we sought an experienced partner that could come in and partner on this grant. We co-wrote the RFP, the response to the RFP, and we were awarded the grant. It was a much larger application initially, but it was pared down by Orange County to have us provide services to out-of-school youth in Dana Point, San Juan Capistrano, and San Clemente. We were notified of the award in April of last year, and we were requested to start delivering services beginning July 1st. And through the assistance of Goodwill, they provided a full-time employee right away who had experience in managing these types of grants. And we partnered with our friends at San Juan Capistrano, at Capo Adult School. And so that's where we're located to deliver these services. And the grant is $309,000. We split that 55% to Saddleback College, the remaining 45% to Goodwill. And Goodwill's portion is through their one full-time employee, provide the case management of these individuals, outreach, employer engagement. The individual they have is doing a wonderful job. We've allocated an individual on a part-time basis to do the same. So collectively, we have a small team that are delivering service to these out-of-school youth. And we're partnering with a number of organizations throughout the community, Adult School, the ROPs, we're reaching out to other schools, other nonprofit organizations. And that's kind of the essence of it, and I can certainly take more questions to be more specific, but that's kind of the overview.
Thank you for doing that. I pulled it as well. I think I had Trustee Milchiker's question. I think it's great that you've won this grant. You're biting off a lot in it. It's a huge undertaking. I don't want to take up a lot of time right now, but periodic updates would be great to hear how we're progressing with it.
Okay,
thanks.
Definitely.
All right, is there a motion to approve the item?
Oh.
Trustee Witt, I apologize.
Israel, I just wanted to tell you thank you so much for also including the general program requirements. It answered a lot of my questions as I was reading it, what it's about and what they can offer us. And I just thought it was well defined. I wanted you to know that.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Trustee Lang.
Yes, okay, so one of my questions, which I think you've somewhat answered, was how this really breaks down between what our roles and responsibilities will be and those of Goodwill, and I guess there are other agencies involved as well. And so I see that we're contributing, obviously, personnel costs, some level of supplies towards the grant. But in terms of there being a clear delineation of responsibility between what our personnel will be doing and what folks from Goodwill and other agencies will be doing, is that fairly clear in terms of accomplishing the objectives of the grant?
Yes, it is. What we've done is we've entered into a sub-agreement with Goodwill Industries.
Yeah, I see that. That's 5.5 on our agenda.
Right, and that sub-agreement, it also references the main grant and the grant that we have, or the award with the Orange County Development Board. And we delineated specifically the exact budget that's allocated to Goodwill, which is just a little bit over $138,000.
Mm-hmm.
And other line items such as marketing, communications, a little bit for equipment, some for supplies and travel. But we've defined the role of the individual, the case manager, and that individual wears many hats because it's a very complicated grant, actually. And then on our end, we'll deliver services to the participants, such as work experience, focus of wages and benefits, some supportive services, incentives of stipends for those individuals to keep their appointments, for interviews, and to report on their progress. Additionally, we have a line item that is Saddleback for pre-apprenticeship or job shadowing, and also on-the-job training. So we're very specific on our roles and very clear. We have very stringent reporting requirements to the Orange County Development Board. We have monthly reports. We have detailed invoicing that has to occur. So we have our game plan quite well laid out. And it's this college's first experience with WIOA funding of this kind. And we hope that as other WIOA grants come about, that we will be in a position to apply for those as well.
Terrific. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Trustee Witt, did you have another question?
No.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion. Well, we have a motion from Trustee Milchiker and a second from Trustee Jay to move 5.4. Thank you, by the way. Any other questions on the item? Go ahead and vote. We have unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. Thank you again, gentlemen. And now we're moving on to 5.5. Trustee Lang, I guess for your
those questions are answered, so I'm willing to move the motion as soon as the.
We have a motion from Trustee Lang and a second from Trustee Wright to approve 5.5, the grant agreement with Goodwill. It is a unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. All right.
Great, thank you very much.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, we now have 5.10. Trustee Witt.
Yes. I wanted some clarification on this. I see that what is requested or what the need is almost $250,000. And I understand, and I have reported my own problems with the amount of emails that I get, and I don't know how they get through, through to all of the faculty or all of the board. But then I said okay to that, but then I looked at 5.14, and on Exhibit A, page 1 of 2, I looked down here, and we have district-wide network security firewall refresh project for $700,000. So I'm thinking $1 million for a worthwhile project. But when we bought or we paid for the district-wide network security, I knew that we already had this problem. I mean, you have to have known that. Couldn't we have gotten a deal from this company to also correct that problem? I'm a good shopper, so I'm trying to look at the money.
Sure. We're looking at two different products. Last month, the board approved the firewall project, and that was in the amount of roughly $600,000. This is switching out our anti-malware vendor, which is another part of the security strategy. There are different pieces of the security strategy that work together. So in this, what they're doing is to use the contract of the state of Arizona. The purchasing folks all negotiate the best price, and then California honors that price. So we're getting the lowest price on this that we can get. Then we went out to 3 different vendors, and we chose the lowest price there. So we are going to get a good deal on these. These are 2 very different products.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have, yes, Chancellor Fitzsimmons.
Just wondering if we could increase the volume on the microphones for the staff and the governance tables. It seems like it's too low for us to hear you.
It's uneven.
Yeah. The speaker at the podium was really good, and it seems like we could hear each other very well, but we can't hear you as high.
You might want to pull your mics closer to yourselves as you're speaking.
So I'm not sure if that's something they can do in the back and are listening to me, or okay.
All right. Thank you for that. We've got 5.10. We have a motion from Trustee Lang, a second from Trustee Wright. Any further discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote on the item. It is a 7-0 trustee vote, unanimous, and student advisory yes vote. Excellent. 5.13, Trustee Witt.
Yes. Well, first of all, I'd like to go to Saddleback Beauty Academy. When I started reading this, I saw that the contracts were the same for both years, and now I understand why. But I'm asking, how many students attend this beauty academy, and does this business already operate in itself, and that we're coming to add to that business. Again, I'm a smart shopper, and I think that almost $250,000 is a lot of money for 1 year.
So I've asked Kathy Worley if she could step up to the podium. She's familiar with the Beauty Academy contract and arrangements.
Thank you. I'm Kathy Worley, and we've had a long-standing relationship with this contractor. This program is one that we're trying to grow and enlarge. We are working with a new contractor, a third school. That enrollment is very small, but the enrollments in the program as it exists out in Moulton are fairly sizable. Was your question about the dollar amount? I'm not
Yes,
sure.
so when you said that, so this money isn't for the Moulton project, it's for the other one.
It's for the established larger, one of the programs, yes.
Okay, is it two different facilities?
We have,
Same
yes.
owner, but two different facilities.
Right, one of them still has a very small number of attendees, and that's one
Okay.
that's working toward getting its accreditation.
Okay, but the dollar amount goes for both of the facilities. All right, okay. All right, that's what I wanted to know. And the facility itself, without the school, do they have students?
They have students that are not our students, in addition to the students that are registered at Saddleback.
Okay.
Not very many of them, but they do have a few that are private.
All right, okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And then I do have one more. B, T&D Communications.
Wait, what?
Oh, sorry.
Well, on the same?
Yeah.
On 5.13?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
It talks about T&D Communications, district-wide air blow fiber project. Can anybody speak to that? Okay, Brandy, thank you.
Hi, Trustee Witt.
Yes, can you just speak to that? It's, again, $750,000. Is that, when you say district-wide, that's on both campuses, or, I'm not sure.
Yes, now that I'm here, I'm looking at Dr. Bermucci because he can speak more to the technical aspects of the program.
Sure. Saddleback's campus, they ran into some problems with the fiber, and that's the amount of the change. What we've done is switch from an old single conduit to a new 9 conduit, so you can actually blow the fiber over long distances rather than having to snake it through one conduit where it can catch on other things. You don't really know until you get down into the ground sometimes what you're going to run into. At IVC, the work went as originally planned. At Saddleback, they ran into some structural problems that necessitated cost increases.
Okay. And do you anticipate that in another 5-10 years, we will need another conduit?
We anticipate roughly every 10 years is going to be the life of the fiber. With this, we should be able to blow new fiber in as needed. And so we can continue doing that until the structural integrity of the actual conduit breaks down.
Good,
So we
because
should be looking at least a decade.
Good, because I see that then being cost-effective at $100,000 a year. Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Prendergast.
Yeah, I'm sorry to ask Dr. Worley to go back up because I was trying to catch it while she was there. I'm still confused that item D and item E they essentially say the exact same thing, exact same amounts. There's no indication that they are for two separate services or separate buildings, and that's where I'm still confused if it's just a cut and paste typo, or is it $215,000 each or total? I don't know if I fully understood the answer to Trustee Witt's question.
It's for, you're talking about Exhibit D and E?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're same wording. It has to do because it changed ownership, and that first person no longer exists, so the contract had to be rewritten for the new person. The only thing that's
This is an
different-
amendment with
Yeah.
a change in the manager.
But it doesn't indicate that anywhere in the wording. It just looks like the exact
I
same
saw that
thing.
too. I saw that too.
So it's very confusing as to whether one is losing money and another is gaining, or one is being zeroed out, or it doesn't indicate that at all.
That's my understanding, is it's just being transferred to the new manager that's at the facility.
I'm sorry, I think maybe we're not answering your question, which is there's two items that look identical. If you look on the first one, I believe that one is for cosmetology, and the second one is for cosmetician. So it's two different types of education that are occurring. Just one word difference in each one of those. Thank
Yes,
you.
sorry.
Thank you.
It's really not nice to do to someone with dyslexia. That's really mean.
And we're going to be bringing them back again probably because we want to add some other template changes to the contract.
Thank you for that clarification. Any further questions? All right. We have a motion from Trustee Witt and a second from Trustee Lang to move 5.3. Any further discussion? Let's go ahead and vote. A 70 unanimous trustee vote and a student advisory yes vote. Okay, one last poll. 5.14, Trustee J.
Okay, this is the purchase order ratification. I noticed that there's Albertsons purchase advantage card, $30,000. And also at the same page, Ralph's Grocery Company, the Controller's Office, food cards for SC, Saddleback College, SEP, and those were together for $40,000. I just wanted more information on this.
I can answer that.
Okay.
I can answer that. There are actually several purchase orders this month for the Student Equity Program. As part of the State Chancellor's Office Student Equity Program, these are allowable expenses to provide these kind of grocery cards. Books. There's also one for the bookstore, which you didn't indicate as well. Between all of them, there's about $300,000 worth of various types of cards for students. Because of the volume and the dollar amount, fiscal team's going to be looking at procedures for this because this is something that we haven't previously had this kind of dollar value. And I had already asked Kim to work with Carolyn DeVete on how to write this up so that we can keep the control of the cards. They're not given out to other people instead of their intended use and have some kind of control of that. So they'll be working on that. But in the meantime, this is part of the allowable expenses under Student Equity Program.
Okay. Thank you.
Trustee Prendergast.
Yeah, on the same item, further down on Exhibit B, page 2 of 2, you have Colorado timing system for Saddleback. Do we have any idea how long, what they're replacing and how long the old equipment was around? No detail on that?
That is the aquatics time,
Yeah,
aquatics
Saddleback
timing
College,
system equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just curious what they're getting for that and how old the old stuff, because obviously I have some inside knowledge on how long they should last and whether they were taken care of properly.
I'm looking at the staff that are present here tonight, and I don't think we have an answer for you, but we can certainly research that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. We have a motion to approve the item from Trustee Witt, a second from Trustee Lang. It's 5.14. Any additional questions or discussion? Seeing none. Vote on the item. A unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. All right. We have dispensed with the consent calendar, and I am now going to move ahead in advance of the general action items, 7.2, which is the district-wide Americans with Disabilities Act transition plan. So if we could ask Trustee Prendergast.
I just real quickly before we get into there's just a point of order. You're asking for any further discussion, and the vote screen is already up. We should wait until he asks for the vote, because if we did want to discuss, we don't have the button to say request to speak. So it's just a procedural thing that we want to make, because it almost makes it impedes the ability to request to discuss it more. So you're asking, you've got a motion and a second.
Yep.
You're asking.
I asked for further questions.
But the vote screen is already up when you're asking for
I see
it.
you're telling them to hold off on that.
Yes, if we could, please.
That's fine. Hold off. All right. Okay, we're now on to we've advanced 7.2, district-wide ADA transition plan. Gentlemen, you're on.
Good evening, board members. I am Mark Shepner, Construction Manager with District Services Facilities Planning, and I have the privilege of leading the ADA transition plan effort for the district over the past several months. This evening, we will present the district's ADA transition plan discussing three things: the applicable federal and state regulations, processes undertaken to develop the plan, and ongoing efforts to address barriers to accessibility. In February 2016, the board approved an agreement with Cordoba Corporation for ADA Transition Plan Consultant Services. Joining us this evening are Michael Boomsma, Senior Vice President with Cordoba, and Glenn D., Vice President with Creative Design Consultants.
Can I just interrupt 1 second? I don't think the board realizes you have to press your video selection presentation button, the 2 square buttons by your mic, so you can see the presentation.
I have a second screen.
We're still getting used to the equipment up here, so
No
I
problem.
apologize.
We all good?
Good.
Okay, and Glenn D., Vice President with Creative Design Consultants and a California Certified Access Specialist. SOCCD is committed to making its programs and services accessible to persons with disabilities. Additionally, the activities of the district are subject to compliance with both federal and state accessibility laws. As a certified access specialist and an expert on accessibility issues on both the federal and state levels, Glenn D. will now provide a brief overview of the various regulations and processes involving accessibility. Okay.
Thank you, Mark. We very much appreciate the opportunity to have supported the district in development of its ADA transition plan. This plan supports the district's ongoing efforts to afford equal access to its instructional programs and activities consistent with the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, specifically Title II, Subtitle A of the Act, which applies to state and local public entities such as the district. In addition to the ADA, in California, state protections related to accessibility include those found in building standards in Title 24 of the California Code of Regulations, the Unruh Civil Rights Act, and Assembly Bill 2222, which was enacted in 2001 and which broadened the definition of disability in the California Civil Code. ADA requirements applicable to the district are found in Title 28 of the Code of Federal Regulations, Part 35, and they cover both program and facility-related protections. These include the designation of a district employee to coordinate its ADA efforts, conducting a self-evaluation, and developing a transition plan related to both program and facility-related aspects of district services and activities. A district-wide committee was established comprised of representatives from district services, Irvine Valley College, and Saddleback College, and included representatives from DSPS offices from both colleges. Through the efforts of this committee and Cordoba Corporation, the district has developed its ADA transition plan addressing physical access at district facilities, programs, and events. The plan is 2,752 pages, uploaded to the shared facilities server with a hard copy available at the district office as required by the ADA.
Thank you, Glenn. The process used by SOCCD to develop a complete plan was accomplished in 3 segments. All included college community involvement. We first considered the issues of physical access at district-wide facilities, programs, and events by performing an assessment of existing facilities. Next, we translated this understanding using planning strategies that included evaluation of the level of effort required and prioritization. Finally, we addressed the issues of non-compliance identified in the assessment and strategic phases and produced the ADA transition plan. All associated efforts of this process included representatives from district services and college representatives from administrative services, student services, facilities and maintenance, and DSPS. Members of the ADA Transition Plan Committee met 9 times between April and November of last year and were instrumental in setting priorities and coordinating and supporting our public outreach efforts. I would like to acknowledge those members of the committee present tonight and invite them to stand and be recognized for their hard work and dedication. Are you going to stand up? Many thanks to all of you. District staff, assisted by experts in ADA transition planning, Cordova Corporation, have completed a comprehensive planning effort resulting in the district ADA transition plan. These planning efforts help inform and guide district staff regarding both capital improvements and maintenance project planning. Thorough facility assessments were completed at ATEP, Irvine Valley College, and Saddleback College. On this slide are samples of some of the interior and exterior features surveyed during the assessment phase. Any barriers to access identified during these surveys has been documented and included in the transition plan. This is an example of a signage deficiency, one of the records which identified barriers to accessibility and is representative of a reportable item. A second example of one of the barriers to accessibility that's been identified is this paper towel dispenser, which projects more than the maximum required 4 inches from the wall. Measures to address each potential physical barrier identified in this study have been assigned a priority and a planned date of completion. The planning effort took into account guidance issued by the U.S. Department of Justice regarding barrier removals and priorities. The highest priority are those measures that are related to access into facilities. Barriers in program areas are recommended to be addressed next, and finally, necessary improvements at restroom facilities. Shown here, the Cordova team has established a separate priority system based upon the severity of the barriers identified. Aside from the priorities defined by the Department of Justice and those shown on this slide, feedback from local users collected at public outreach meetings have been taken into consideration to arrive at a customized district-specific prioritization. Correction of issues identified within the transition plan have been targeted for completion in 4 3-year phases. Phase 1 includes addressing potential safety hazards, adjusting doors that could impede access to facilities and programs, and addressing issues within buildings scheduled for renovation within the Phase 1 timeframe. Incorporating correction of less critical issues into future renovation projects allows us to take advantage of economies of scale available when building renovations are being performed. Identified issues targeted for completion during phases 2 through 4 include issues in facilities planned for renovations within the facility's master plan and 5-year plan. 1/4 of identified exterior issues are to be addressed in each phase, and building issues not associated with future renovation projects will be accomplished through the district's capital improvement planning process. The findings were as expected given the moving target that ADA compliance has been over the years. For example, a building might be constructed in 1 year and in the next be found to be non-compliant due to a change in the requirements for clearance or height parameters. As mentioned, the projects have been divided into 4 3-year phases with an attempt to apportion the effort equally. Barrier removal projects range from simple maintenance improvements to those that may require design and execution of a capital project. In summary, development of the ADA transition plan was achieved through conducting field surveys of facilities, analyzing the data collected during those surveys, prioritizing correction of the issues identified using federal, state, and local guidelines, reaching out to students, staff, and the ADA community to assist with identifying barriers to access, and finally producing the final ADA transition plan. To specifically touch on the public outreach conducted, meetings were held at Irvine Valley and Saddleback colleges during the past fall semester, organized and supported by the colleges and their DSPS organizations, and facilitated by the district and Cordova. 150 attended the outreach events at the 2 campuses. And in addition, 32 emails were submitted to a dedicated email address for receipt of comments regarding accessibility issues. Being attentive to what is required under federal law, the district endeavors to maintain facilities with ADA compliance in mind. This slide represents examples of ongoing implementation measures to ensure public access to district-wide services, programs, and activities. The ADA transition plan will be evaluated annually during the district-wide capital project planning effort to ensure maximum impact and efficiency related to these improvements. And with that, Glenn and I and members of the committee are available to address your comments and questions.
Okay. Thank you for that presentation.
Thank you very much.
I was looking at my screen to see who has questions, but I think we're going back to the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
Granicus, I'm back. Kind of. All right. Do we have any questions for these gentlemen? Trustee Wright.
One of the concerns I have, I'm talking about the science math building. It was built in 1973. There's one classroom there. It's Science Math 309A. That there's no way, unless they build a ramp or something else, to make that ADA compliant. What are you going to do with that? I know when we run into a problem, what we did was change classrooms for the students so that they could have access, because the building was built so long ago. And what are you recommending now that we do?
I'm not familiar with that particular classroom, but Glenn can address the question of what we do with it now.
Maybe Carol knows. I mean, because it's non-compliant.
Well, again, that specific classroom, we studied the entire campus and came up with thousands of different different issues. So we're actually categorizing them over the life of the plan and based on priority. And so we'll be going through that process.
Okay.
And something that really reaches a high priority, we'll be addressing first.
Yeah, it's a fairly large classroom.
Yeah, I know. I think I know the one you mean because we've switched.
Because
students around the past,
you have stairs to get up to it. That's all you have.
Yeah.
You'd have to build a ramp or something else.
Right.
In order to use it.
Yeah.
Is it Glenn?
Okay.
Glenn, did you want to add something?
Yes, I think what I could add is that generally under the ADA, it represents a snapshot of this study. And I think the overriding thing to say is that generally under the ADA, the district is held to what is termed a program access requirement. That is, when you view the services, activities, and programs of the district as a whole, that is the obligation of the district related to providing access on an equal basis. Definitely, the district includes facilities which predate the ADA. So when we talk about a building that is built in the 1970s, the codes at that time related to accessibility dates in 1961. And so it's not surprising that under the ADA today, we find what we find. Right. So the study is helpful in identifying options for the district of what to do going forward. And so this is not uncommon with clients who we assist throughout the state.
Okay.
Thank you. Trustee Prendergast.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I'm still kind of hung up on the paper towel dispenser. It is ADA code that it can't be more than 4 inches away from the wall. That's a really small roll of paper towels that's going to have to be changed like every 10 minutes. But why do they even make them non-compliant? Like, shouldn't even be a product to get a hold of. I'm very confused as to how we would have to change something in the first place if it wasn't made. It's bugging me. I mean, you probably don't have an answer for that. It's just something I wanted to say.
Under new construction, those devices are recessed in the wall so that they don't protrude out. You can buy an ADA compliant paper towel dispenser. Typically what you'll see is something like that gets added after construction, and that's what causes us problems. So those are some of the things we need to resolve as we move forward in new construction as well as when the building is under operation.
Mark,
There's
but,
nothing to
but
push.
you're talking about the ADA for paper towels in the stall that would be for an ADA. I mean, it's not going to be in every, sorry, yeah, in the stall.
Sure.
It's not in every single stall in the bathroom for the ADA compliance for a paper,
This is a very good question. Generally, when we talk about accessibility, we're covering issues that, for example, address persons who have a visual-related disability or a mobility-related disability. When we speak of a projection of no more than 4 inches, the requirements are associated with mitigating a potential safety hazard for a person with a visual impairment. And so when we speak of something like a paper towel dispenser, they may be just fine projecting 8 inches out or 10 inches out, but if they're located in a circulation path where perhaps a person with a cane could not detect that element, then that is when the rule of a 4-inch projection is applied.
Okay, I was actually going beyond that and looking at the stalls with paper towels because I looked at that. And I'm thinking that would be in every single stall or it would be in the ADA appropriated. That's a lot of money.
The ADA regulations are very nuanced, and on your specific question, when it comes to which stall is covered under the ADA, generally it will be the stall that is accommodating persons who use mobility devices.
Okay.
Trustee Milchiker.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you for doing that. I neglected to bring up in my trustee report that I attended the Orange County Community College Legislative Task Force meeting because I ran out of time. But we did accomplish some things in the meeting. One of the things that we've been discussing is particularly Rancho. The Chancellor of Rancho mentioned that they had a lawsuit because they had some very old buildings that someone sued them because they weren't. There was like 1 inch difference in the level of the ramp, and they were successfully sued. So what we need to do, we certainly absolutely want to be accessible to all of our disabled students in every way, but we don't want to be open to nuisance lawsuits that could take funds away from our academic programs. So do you have any advice for us and furthermore, as you mentioned, one disability might counteract another disability because my father was blind, and he mentioned how the curbs had to be cut out for the people in wheelchairs, and that left blind people open to walking into the streets because they couldn't find the curb when they were walking with their canes, and risking death because the curbs were cut out. So it makes it really difficult to reach people with all disabilities. But the main question I had was, how do you help us as a community college task force for all Orange County that we could help make sure that we're not sued by some of these nuisance lawsuits where some unscrupulous people might just be wanting to make money because of them? Thank you.
That is a great question. I'm not quite sure how to provide an answer other than preparing a transition plan, as the district has done, is considered best practice and consistent with meeting its obligation under the ADA. I think it's a bit speculative to say, will something ward off or mitigate what are termed a drive-by lawsuit? We really don't know, and I think I just want to acknowledge that that is a remedy that persons are permitted to pursue under the ADA, in addition to an enforcement action by a federal agency such as the Office for Civil Rights under the Department of Education. So I guess the short answer is conducting a study, as the district has done, is a very good thing.
I see. So
Thank you.
legally, that would help protect us, and if there was a nuisance lawsuit in that way, perhaps a drive-by
Trustee
lawsuit,
Milchiker,
as you call it.
If I can add
Can
something, I just want to
Chancellor?
say that the reason we're doing the ADA transition plan is to identify all the ADA issues across the district, put in best practices, put in a plan of action, and implement it and actually follow through on our implementation. So that is the best that we can do as a district to ensure that not only are we planning properly, and then we're going to apply our funding towards the plans, but that we're doing it in a coordinated way in relationship to our education and facilities master planning process as well as our funding cycle. So I think we're getting all the elements in place that will address this. Thank you.
I agree with that, and I don't have I guess I had one question, being very supportive of the ADA and the state laws as well. I mean, there's obviously a lot that needs to be done on a continuing basis to make sure that we're compliant. And I guess my question was, in terms of our annual process, do we have the proper expertise on an ongoing basis in this campus, in this district, through our district-wide coordinating bodies to continuing to make these decisions on an annual basis? I love consultants. You guys did a great job, but I'm just thinking forward ahead in terms of our own internal expertise on these issues going forward.
Well, I'm going to let Mark and Brandy speak to that, because Brandy is now, I believe, the identified ADA coordinator for the district. Do you want to speak on what your role will be on that, in that regard?
Sure. I'll be looking to our architects. If I have a specific question, people who are already under contract with us, I'll take advantage of the fact that they do have the expertise in the codes relative to accessibility. We also have a DSA resident inspector, and the DSA resident inspector is very up on these kinds of things. So I do have in-district references that I can refer to.
Okay. Seeing no further questions, I don't think we have. It's not a vote. It's not an action item. So thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Well done. And have a good evening. All right. We went out of order. We're now back to 6.0, general action items. 6.1, the nominations for the California Community College Trustees Board of Directors. Do we have any nominations? Trustee Lang.
Question: is there anybody that has a burning desire to serve on the CCCT Board of Directors? Trustee
Well,
Pendergast?
while I was appreciative of that last year, looking at the timeline of meetings that they have set up, the actual opening meeting is CIF finals for me, so I wouldn't even be able to go if I did get elected. So I'm not gonna throw my hat in the ring this year.
Okay. Anybody else that's interested in serving?
Trustee Witt, you're interested?
Not now.
All right.
We have to February 15th.
Student Trustee Ford.
Yeah, I actually discussed this with our ASG at Irvine Valley College, and I'd like to sit down and discuss it with ASG at Saddleback too, on our elections processes for the ASG and the incoming, because we do them so much later in the year. It ends up making it harder to train incoming student government, so the old presidents, the old senators can give advice and what to do. And I think that's important for trustees as well. And because it happens so much later in the year, I can't advise the trustee-elect on like what I saw that worked, different things like that. And for this, for example, this CCCT thing, putting in for student, I think we have a little bit more extended time, but maybe it's something that we could change in the future so that we can have a student go for this for our district.
All right. Thank you. It looks like we do not have a nomination, so we'll move ahead to.
Question.
You have a question?
No, I said good question.
Oh.
To ask if anybody wanted it.
All right. Moving on to 6.2, authorization of payment to trustee absent from board meeting. We have a motion from Trustee Lang and a second from Trustee Milchiker. Any additional discussion? No. Now, call on the vote. Has everyone voted? Oh, I got your vote now. Well, I don't have. We have a 6-0 trustee vote, 1 abstention from trustees, and a student advisory yes vote. All right, let's move on to 6.3, Saddleback College PE 2000 Gym Bleacher Replacement Project, award of bid. Do we have a motion? We have a motion from Trustee Witt, second from Trustee Milchiker, and discussion, question from Trustee Prendergast.
Yeah, I just want to mention I 100% support this. Went to the last President's Cup game. It was the first time in 5 years I remembered to bring my bleacher seat so I'd have a back. Trustee Wright and his wife had to sit up at the top level with their back against the wall. So I'm hoping that in this renovation it does include seats with backs. Honestly, there's a huge safety concern. During the games that I was at, 3 of the bolts came out of the wood bleachers, and a lady almost tripped, she rolled on it with her shoe. So we need to get this done quick.
Well, you ought to travel with me more often. I carry 2, because of the number of athletic events I attend, there are 2 bleacher seats in my car at all times. So right now, outside.
You've seen my car. I don't have room to carry bleacher seats in it all the time.
All right. Seeing no further questions on this item, enthusiastically supporting it appears. Go ahead and vote. You have a unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. It actually pops up late. Yeah. All right. 6.4 Saddleback College Communication Arts Renovation Project, KSBR radio station remodel.
We do have Jim Rogers here. I know there is a question on the status of this project. If we can ask him to provide an overview. I don't know if you have to do your motion first, though. Okay.
That'd be great.
Motion
Oh,
first.
I need a motion to approve the item. Motion from Trustee Lang, and a second from Trustee Prendergast. Do you want to ask the question, or?
Well, maker of the motion has first right to speak if Trustee Lang wants to.
Just interested to hear
Okay.
from our resource in terms of what he has to say about
I just wanted to clarify if this is I remember we got a big presentation about the reach of the signal and all of that and overlaps. Is this part of that? And are we on track for that? Is that what this is all about, or is this something completely separate? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
It is actually something completely separate. CM Bronzebot is working with James Rondow and the KSBR folks, as well as what is it? KSUN.
Cal State University, Northridge.
Northridge.
That's what it was.
So they are working together. I had asked him to bring a status report at the next board meeting, but I don't know if you want to share briefly.
That's right, 2 different things, and we are working on having the combined radio waves for both. So we'll bring it back to the board, status report.
So if they're 2 different things, we're looking at more money down the line to complete the other aspect that we were presented with several months ago. So this is coming in before the other issue.
This was already in line for the KSBR for us to remodel this particular one, regardless whether we go with KSUN or not. Those issues with the KSUN as a joint development of a programming may require some additional cost in order for us to remove the interference in between the two stations. Those funds will come back later because we do have a consultant on board for us to kind of guide us to that one. They just been hired right after the holidays, so we are waiting for their report to see exactly what we need to do.
So are we making sure that we're not building something that's going to have to get torn out?
No.
or anything where once the other thing comes in line, we've wasted time and or money?
No, absolutely not. This is a necessary for us to kind of run the station anyway.
Okay.
I don't know if you recall, but when the LRC major renovation project took place, when that was planned, which was prior to mine and Brandy's arrival, they omitted a whole wing for comm arts. Why? I have no idea. So one portion of the building wasn't planned to even be renovated. It didn't make a lot of sense. So the college discussed it. We worked through the capital improvement committee process, and it was deemed it made a lot of sense to be doing that renovation also. So that was funded through the basic aid cycle, and this is that one piece of that, which is the KSBR section. And then Jim's here to talk about what that is specifically.
Okay. Any other questions, TJ? Okay, Trustee Lang.
Yes. It's obviously apparent that this is only one aspect of the project, since the whole project budget is over 3.8 million, and this piece of it is a little under 1.3 million. But I would be interested in sort of understanding what the pieces are, and also whether this particular piece is within the amount that we had budgeted for it.
I'll let Jim explain to you exactly what this particular project will do for the college.
Essentially, there were three pieces to the project. The first piece was the renovation and the build out of the facility itself, which is on the first floor of the ORC. And that was completed about a year and a half ago, $1.645 million to complete that construction. And that included all the studios, all the basic components for a facility support, the radio station, and later on TV and film. This is part two of that. And to answer your question, sir, yes, it is within the budget. We actually, our estimate was 1.2 million. The bid came in at 1.245, but there's a $50,000 allowance included in that bid that we hold back here at the college. So we're within about $5,000 of what we believe to be the cost for the project. And what this entails is taking KSBR from the current student services facility and taking it over to this facility and building out 3 brand new studios. Originally, the plan was just move KSBR and what is there. That was 8 years ago. We learned that much of the equipment is so antiquated that we can't even take it apart. We would struggle with trying to get the radio station back up and functioning in a proper manner. So we're getting a top-of-the-line 3-class studios for KSBR for both the radio station and for teaching and learning.
Can you also help me understand why the apparently lowest bid that we received was considered to be non-responsive?
Yes, sir. Because of the specialized nature and the technical requirements of the radio station, we actually went out and pre-qualified general contractors, and we also pre-qualified radio station suppliers and installers. The reason we did this is we had some concerns that just a basic general contractor with an electrical contractor would come on board and maybe would not necessarily have the expertise to install the equipment that we could purchase on our own. So we went through that process. We had 11 contractors, subcontractors attend the job walk. We had 5 apply to be pre-qualified. We had 1 general contractor who turned out not to be pre-qualified, so they did not place a bid. The bid in particular from Tovey Schultz that came in low was considered non-responsive because the subcontractor, the radio station equipment supplier and vendor, was not pre-qualified, though they attempted to be, because they are not licensed to be a contractor in the state of California and could not obtain a license prior to the bid coming to the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Wright.
I think most of the questions I have been answered, but thank you for your comments. And Deborah, I appreciate your comment because this really should have been taken care of when they redid the library or the Learning Resource Center. And I guess for some reason that wasn't done. So thank you.
Thank you. And I all I want to say is I don't have a problem with the way this was handled. It looks like you did I think a good job in terms of moving this process forward with the competitive bid. My issue might be with what Trustee Prendergast raised. And Carol, I'm sorry you're here tonight to be the one sitting in the chair, but you know, I think it was almost 2 years ago when Saddleback College made a presentation here with these grand plans to revise KSBR, not just in terms of signal strength, but also programming. And I assume they talked about brand new programming design, and I assume this remodel is going to fit with whatever new programming they plan to do in the future. And so I just hope that that's going to happen. I wish you hadn't come before the body here and pledged these things, that these changes were going to occur in 6 months. And I remember I asked specifically at the time, this is an ambitious plan, and they were all nodding, yes, it's going to happen. It didn't. So let's just make sure that I know we have your assurances from Trustee Prendergast's question that you're going to do this regardless of the changes in programming. So let's just make sure that this is all synced up, because the last thing I want to see is for Saddleback to come back again and say all these changes are going to occur and then nothing happened. We got no report on anything. And this was, I think, a year and a half ago at least.
Well, I hear you loud and clear and agree with you, because none of us actually want that scenario to happen. As far as the development of these particular studios in the LRC for the KSBR, Jim Rondo, who is the broadcast director, he's been very actively involved in this and is also working on the Cal State Northridge agreement, and obviously understands the needs. So had we not made this move, and the facilities, first of all, are inadequate where they are right now. And there has been a desire for a long time to consolidate the communication arts within the campus for the synergy involved with that, for the teaching experience. And so, therefore, the KSBR radio station has not been upgraded or had any new equipment in many, many, many years. And as Jim indicated, is practically falling apart at this point. So something had to be done anyway, regardless. And so we are getting obviously it's never enough, right? Because we have a budget, and clearly they would like more than what they're going to be getting. But everything we're purchasing is new and improved, and will help with the agreement with Northridge. But they are two completely separate things, because it's more about the consolidating the signal. It's about agreements with that. It's about the underwriting fees, where they go, where the money goes. It's a lot of that kind of legal type of stuff that we're working with Cal State Northridge at this point in time. But I hear you.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Prendergast.
Yeah, this just begs more issues. We get this presentation. We were pretty clear that, we'd love to see this, but we're not buying it. Turns out we were right, unfortunately. But it now seems apparent that one of the things that are hanging it up was the need for this new equipment and the building.
No, that's not correct. This is totally separate. Yeah. What was hanging it up was working with the two parties to agree upon a consultant that could work through the devil's in the details, right? How are you going to distribute when you get fundraise? How are you going to, how are we going to do a board of directors? How are we, all these different sort of things need to be worked out. So the consultants now, we agreed upon a contract. We got the consultant on board. Both parties are working together. CM and James Rondo are both attending all the meetings. They're coming here. They're going there. And so it's moving along now. But it really was some tricky points that we really need to have somebody come in and sort of who's an expert in this area that was agreeable between two parties that can work through some of these. So they're working through that now.
Well, then would it be safe to say that with this upgrade, we have a better position to move forward with that?
I think we need to separate these two issues. The first issue is we are going to spend this money regardless of whether you have gone with the KSUN or not. I just want you to know that, because the equipment that we have right now with the KSBR, our radio station, is pretty much failing. Pretty much, we can say that. And this is the one which will help them. The second part is we would like to expand our interference 88.5 with the KSUN, so we can move from 2 or 3 million people to 6 million people out there, and we are working very diligently. These are not easy negotiations to work with the KSUN. We just finalized it to have somebody just come on board as a consultant to help us guide through those things. We will bring it to the board in terms of where we are. We are very confident that that will happen. Question is how soon that it can happen. We just wanted to make sure these are two public agencies trying to work together in order to have more funding, more programming, and at the end of the day, they both come out winner. our portion is very small compared to the KSUN. They are giving us an equal seat in terms of the programming and also fundraising. So we feel very confident that this kind of improvement to our radio station, it will help us better for us to move forward. Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, CM. And Carol as well. Okay, go ahead and vote on the item. We have a unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. Excellent. All right, we're now on to 6.5, IVC, naming of new college entrance road to be called Laser Way.
I was hoping that President Rockmore could explain the process for how they came about this.
There we go. Happy to. Yes, in anticipation of the final construction of the road that will connect the campus to the Barranca Road, the college engaged about 2 years ago in a process to come up with a name for the road. And Laser Way, we are the Lasers, is the one that won the contest. And so now we're ready. The city's asking, what will be the sign that they'll hang on the signal light. And so it's now time to seek your approval for that name.
Okay. We have a motion from thank you for that. Motion from Trustee Wright, second from Trustee Jay, and a question from Trustee Lang.
Just a very quick question. I think you've already answered it, and that is that does the name designation need to go through any sort of city process of its own? I mean, in other words, do we need to get, a secondary approval from the Irvine City Council, or how does that work? I think Brandy might have a better handle on that, because I've not seen any issues with the city in that regard. But maybe that's been
question
handled.
Is this our road? Is it their road?
Yeah, it's our road, but they may have a role in the name. And
Is it considered public road, or is it considered, is it considered the city road, or is it considered our road, Brandy? It is our road. Yeah, so in that case, we don't have to worry about city approval. However, like for in this instance at ATAP, there are going to be some roads there that we're going to be recommending that are going to be city and district. In that case, we'll work with the city on that.
Okay.
One less chit to call on Don Wagner for. So, all right. Trustee Witt.
Yeah, did we look to see, is there any other street or way called Laser Way in Irvine?
I believe the city has weighed in on this. And
Okay.
So we wouldn't bring it to you if it was going to be blocked by the city.
Because the
And-
GPS will have a real hard time on
Yes,
that.
that's right. Yes, so I believe that is true.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we really need to make sure that that is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Trustee Prendergast.
The only laser ways that come up are Pahrump, Nevada, and Spring, Texas, so I think we're safe.
There's got to be more than that. All right.
23 hours away.
Oh, Tasmania, Australia. Sorry, I left that one out.
I'd like to know how long it takes GPS to figure that out.
All right. We have a motion from Trustee Wright, second from Trustee Jay. Seeing no further questions, let's go ahead and vote on the item. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a quick student advisory yes vote. All right. We have item 6.6, Saddleback College Fine Arts HVAC upgrades and interior renovation project. We have a motion from Trustee Lang, and do we have a second? A second from Trustee Prendergast. I communicated with you earlier, this was a really big increase, and I would like an explanation if you could provide it.
So yes, this is a big increase. This is on an HVAC project for an existing building. The building is the Fine Arts or the McKinney Theater and the complex that is surrounding the McKinney Theater. It was built in 1977, and the majority of the work that was performed was behind existing drywall or behind inside existing soffits. So a lot of unforeseen circumstances occurred during the course of this work. To complicate matters, it was also work that was necessary to complete over the summer break so that we wouldn't impact the McKinney Theater scheduling. So a $7 million project was performed over approximately 120 days. There was a portion of it that was actually 30 days longer than the rest of the project. And the project manager that was responsible for this project, in order to move it forward quickly, made a determination that he would approve time and material change orders so that the contractor could continue to work without the change orders actually being negotiated during the course of construction. So the reason you're seeing such a big change happen all at once is because after the construction project was then completed, after the construction project was then completed, we then negotiated well over 250 construction changes from August until now, and this is a portion of those.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, seeing no further questions, I have a motion from Trustee Lang, second from Trustee Prendergast. Let's go ahead and vote. We have a 6-1 trustee vote, 6 yes votes, 1 abstention, and a student advisory yes vote. Move on to 6.7, academic year 2017, 2018 non-resident tuition fees and foreign and out-of-state students, for foreign and out-of-state students. A motion from Trustee Lang, a second from Trustee Jay. Any questions or discussion on the item? Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Item carries on a 7-0 trustee vote and with the student advisory yes vote. 6.8, board policy revision, several of them. Unmanned aircraft systems or drones, faculty salary classification changes, sick leave, and shower facilities for homeless students. This is for accept for review and study. I have a motion from Trustee Wright, second from Trustee Lang. Any discussion? Okay, let's go ahead and vote. Unanimous trustee yes vote and a student advisory yes vote. 6.9, academic personnel actions, regular items. We have a motion. No changes to the item from the Vice Chancellor of Human Resources. We have a motion from Trustee Milchiker and a second from Trustee Prendergast. Any discussion or questions? All right, let's go ahead and vote on the item. We need a vote, it looks like. Who's not voted? We have a unanimous trustee yes vote, 7-0, and a student advisory abstention. 6.10, classified personnel actions, regular items. A motion from Trustee Milchiker and a second from Trustee Jay on 6.10. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote on the item. A unanimous trustee yes vote, 7-0, and a student advisory abstention. 6.11, South Orange County Community College District bonded sabbatical recommendations. Is there a motion? Motion from Trustee Milchiker, second from Trustee Jay. Any questions?
Looks like
Seeing none, let's go ahead and vote on the item. A unanimous trustee yes vote, motion carries, and A student advisory abstention. All right. Okay. So I think we're on to 7.0 reports. We are on to 7.1 staff response to public comments from the previous board meeting. There is nothing to report. All right. We already discussed 6.2, 7.2, 7.3, Saddleback College and Irvine Valley College speakers. 7.4, Basic Aid report. 7.5, Facilities Plan Status report.
I have asked Brandy DeLea, our executive director, to just give a very brief status report on a stadium project at Saddleback College.
Thank you. So at the time of the writing of the facilities report that's in front of you, we were finished with the schematic design phase. That is the second of 4 design phases. Now I'm happy to report that we're into the third of the 4 design phases, halfway through it. So we have received the 50% submittal, and upon receipt of that, faculty, staff, maintenance and operations, campus police, and IT will all be involved in a page turning of that submittal to ensure that it meets the projected components of the project. If issues arise during the walkthrough of those plans, then they'll be addressed. And upon completion, then the next time you see a report, you'll probably see a 50% acceptance by all of the end users and the others involved. So this project's using a building information modeling program that's called BIM. You may have heard of that before. It's a process that incorporates technology into the planning. And in this case, both the designers and the contractors are talking to each other through this technology so that they can then build the building and create different variations of how the building might be built and immediately receive responses back as to how those iterations might impact budget, schedule, and scope on the project. That's very, very exciting. We just had the last BIM model presented last week, and through that process, we've confirmed that the building is tracking for completion in early 2019, as is also reported in your report. In addition to the BIM effort, we are also doing an aside on a more intense budget review to ensure that the project is tracking for budget. Although the BIM initially says that it is, we'll get down into it. And by the next meeting for this project, we'll understand that it's tracking in budget as well. The team scheduled a pre-submittal meeting with the Division of the State Architect. That will help us when we go to apply for our permit, our ability to build. That's going to happen on Thursday morning of this week. So they're staying very busy. Let me see. A poll planning session is a session that the team uses to ensure that the project, it's a more targeted and focused schedule check on the project. A poll planning session happened just a week ago. And that session determined that we will be meeting our DSA submittal date of May 3rd. So with all of that, when will you first see some stuff happening out there? And that's going to be in August. It's scheduled for the existing facilities to be demolished in August. And oh my gosh, that's coming right up on the football season, right? And all you all who go to all the football games, where are you going to go this year? It will be located at the Mission Viejo High School. Chief McElroy has already scheduled those games there, or gotten an agreement to schedule the games there. And then after football starts, you'll see some construction start out on the site, and about October is when we're seeing that happen. I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you. Trustee Wright. I don't know if it's questions for you.
Yeah, it was a
Maybe
question I had. I was wanting to know how's the task building? What's happening there?
The task building, as we mentioned at the last board meeting, was placed on hold so that we could evaluate how best to move forward in the future. As you might recall, we assigned dollars to that building. I believe it was a $3 million, $7 million, and in incremental assignments got to $20 million. Once we are at a $20 million project budget, it's a good time for us to consider whether or not a new building over renovating the existing building is in our best interest. So that's where we are right now. We have met with the faculty and staff for the division, and they have expressed concerns about the length of time that they'll be required to spend in the village. Already they're there a year longer.
Right.
Due to this delay. And so we are beginning to address some of their concerns. We have taken from them a list of the concerns they have for being there. I'm sorry, Jim Rogers isn't here. Otherwise, he would be here to hear how great a work their department is doing in addressing maintenance and operations concerns. So they've already begun doing that relative to more clean bathrooms, more cleaned air filters. We have some temporary parking lots down there and making sure that the dust off those parking lots doesn't impact the students. So a lot of little things are happening in the background already. As well, there were some concerns about, for instance, the architectural classroom down there has some, it's very detailed drawing needs. And the floors in a portable are not meeting those needs. So we're looking into how to best address that concern. So those things are happening right now. As soon as we get that aspect addressed, then we'll be moving heavily into end user meetings, faculty and staff meetings to determine what serves their best interests.
How long do you think this will take?
I'm going to approximate 2 to 3 months maximum. Are you in agreement with that, Sam?
Okay. Because I know I've had several faculty members talk to me about that.
It's of concern for them. They've been in that village for a long time.
And I'm sure they have concern, and we are listening to them. And before the holidays, I met with them all together with the Brandy. We also have their concern about the temporary space what they are occupying, and we are working on resolving some of the issues that they are facing in order for us to do a better job.
Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Witt. Hold on, Brandy.
Brandy, I just wanted to ask on the stadium and site improvement. I know that we had revisions from the original, quite a bit of an increase. As of today, that's still the same. We won't be surprised by other needs.
Correct. And we're working very hard. You were so generous in the approvals of the budget that's been assigned to the stadium. We've made it clear that's where we're at.
Okay, January 23rd, we're there. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Brandy.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to 7.6, monthly financial status report. And 7.7, quarterly financial status report. All right. We're now on reports from the administration and governance groups, and we'll kick off with the Saddleback College Academic Senate.
Thank you. Good evening, trustees and Interim Chancellor Fitzsimmons. As you heard the trustees mention earlier, we had a great kickoff to our Faculty Development Week earlier this month. And I also just wanted to highlight, I really appreciate Trustee Wright asking about the ATESC building renovation. That is something that's been a very big concern to the faculty on our campus, and that was something that was wanted to be addressed tonight, and so I'm glad that you asked that. I am happy to hear Brandy speak of, it moving forward, and that, CM and Brandy are taking into consideration the faculty concerns with the temporary spaces. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Faculty Association. It's not Mark Blethen.
No, it's not. It's his poor understudy, Kurt Meyer, President-elect. Thank you, Interim Chancellor Fitzsimmons and the Board of Trustee members and Student Trustee Ford. Mark couldn't be here tonight. He is celebrating the life of his late uncle who lived 102 years long. So it's more a celebration than it is a grieving. Mark wanted me to let you know that. He also wanted to pass along with the Faculty Association, our appreciation for your attendance and participation at the Faculty Association luncheon. I especially appreciate the comments that Trustees Jay and Wright and Milchiker alluded to, and particularly President Jemal, your expression of a faster collective bargaining process, having the support of the board. That's particularly important to the Faculty Association, and I think to the district as well. Thank you.
Thank you for filling in, stepping up. IVC Academic Senate, Kathy Schmeidler.
We'll try to use the new microphone. Good evening, all. As one of you said in your report, ditto, ditto, I echo my colleagues and just want to add two things. One, in addition to Flex Week, we are engaged in an active semester already, and so most of the faculty, except a few of us who are on sabbatical, are engaged in the new semester's work. And as I have been for the last several months, I would just like to praise all of you for your wonderful efforts at educating yourselves, becoming involved. Some of you have been involved for a very long time. Others of you have increased your involvement, and under the aegis of our interim chancellor, who I believe is doing an excellent job. Thank you.
Kathy, congratulations on your tenure. Not your tenure, but your sabbatical leave. And
Looks so interesting.
Yes, we
2018.
were commenting that you passed that without any comment.
Oh, you didn't see my emails on it before the meeting.
Oh, that must be it. Well, I suggested to Glenn that perhaps you thought I wouldn't be able to come up with a bond.
Oh. I was hoping you'd extend it. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, you know, once I'm down in those catacombs, who knows what's going to happen.
Paris, yeah.
All right. Vice Chancellor of Technology and Learning Services.
Well, in the shakedown cruise for your new room, the voting's working well. I want to thank Carolyn from Granicus, who's been here to help us today. The audio problem has been, the intermittent static you're hearing has been traced, I believe, to a faulty audio amplifier, which will be swapped out for the next meeting. But I can report that you all look marvelous on the HD video from these tiny little cameras that we have.
Yeah, he told us that he told me that at the training session. All right, Vice Chancellor of Human Resources, David Begay.
We have a couple of job fairs coming up. The first one is going to be on Saturday at the LAX Job Fair, and the following week on the Saturday, February 4th, we'll be up in San Francisco. I am back on the State Chancellor's Consultation Council, and I have to tell you, Eli Oakley, he was there, and he talked a little bit about his philosophy. It looks like he is totally committed to the process of making life simpler for everybody, which is a novel concept from the Chancellor's office. He talked about a specific thing, a guideline they're doing about changing how we do curriculum from the Chancellor's office. They plan on not reviewing curriculum, but just assigning numbers and leaving the responsibility to the colleges. So you're talking a philosophical shift from them micromanaging an area to letting the colleges do it. So if that's an indication of life to come, frankly, that's probably where they should be as a state chancellor's office. So things are looking up there. One of the biggest issues we talked about up there, also with a major concern with the student representatives on the council as well as faculty, was the issue of undocumented students and the great fear of ICE showing up on campuses trying to gather lists. So that was a fear spoken by numerous colleges as we talked about that issue. So we'll see what happens with that in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor of Business Services.
Now that the governor have the budget already unveiled for 17-18, we are preparing ourselves for how it is going to impact us for 17-18. So most of our committee work starts now, basically working through February, March, April, May, going onwards. The other thing is both colleges have turned in their self-study. We are reviewing that as well and preparing at the district services as and when the team members comes and ask us questions about anything to do with their accreditation for the colleges. So we are preparing to support both the colleges in a full speed ahead.
Thank you, CM. IVC Classified Senate.
All right, well, we're getting back into the swing of things. We ended our professional development week with a classified Senate lunch hosted by President Rockmore. And it was an extremely informative and productive lunch meeting. We had Vice President McDonald there talking about accreditation, kind of put me on the spot a little bit with a quiz along with my secretary. So it was a really fun day. It was very helpful, very informative. We also had President Rockmore speak on the roles of the Board of Trustees and the Chancellor, and that actually piqued a lot of interest from everybody in the room. It was very helpful to just kind of clarify some things that I think especially the newer classified members weren't aware of, so that was very helpful. We also got to congratulate the outstanding classified for the Foundation Awards Dinner coming up, which is Tony Sidoti from our Facilities Department. So, and then we ended the day off with Schools First coming out and just doing a small presentation about some of the retirement plans and offerings they had, especially with the upcoming retirement of many of the classified, I'm sure. So, and we're looking forward to spring of 2017. So thank you very much.
Thank you. CSEA President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Trustee Lang, you have nothing to worry about. The Pittsburgh Steelers will come back. They always do. And so will the Pennsylvania University Nittany Lions. Coach Franklin is getting some blue chippers to come and play at Penn State. So also, the pro football players that have made the Pro Football Hall of Fame come from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania more than any other state in the union. So we're okay. Over the weekend, I actually attended the CSEA Association Board of Directors meeting, and it's one of the few times that they actually hold a meeting in Southern California. Our association president is from Southern California, but they have to normally have the meetings in San Jose, but this is the first time in quite some time that they've had it in Southern California. Our chairperson, who's in leading the Political Action Committee, gave a report. And basically, she told the board of directors that they're going to make a tremendous effort, considering the political climate that we're now in, to actually reach out to all members of CSEA, no matter what party affiliation, because the common goals and coming together to reach those common goals and overcome challenges is going to be something that's really going to have to take place over the next few years. And it can go beyond the next presidential term. So, but they were reminded that it doesn't matter what political affiliation that our members are. The thing is that we really try to come with the theme of unity and the fact that whatever we do together as Americans. Thank you.
Thank you. And I see that Saddleback College Classified Senate is not with us this evening. And before concluding, I'd like to ask the Chancellor to say a few words.
Yes, I was just remiss when I was doing the interim chancellor report to mention two things. One is Trustee Prendergast reminded me that there are two Board of Trustee training conferences that interfere with our board dates in April and September. So we might be bringing back item for the month of February to have the board consider changing April's and September's dates, possibly, if you all decide to do that. So I just wanted to bring that up publicly so we have that on our radar. Secondly, I'm not sure if you're all aware, is that the district is going to be entering the year of our 50th anniversary. So we'll be working towards, with the college presidents and all the leadership and chair governance, some year of activities. Terry Flugerman has some ideas. I'm sure she's going to be working with Diane and Jenny, but we're going to try to sort of roll that out so that it culminates throughout the year, a variety of different activities to celebrate our 50 years as South Orange County Community College District.
Yay. All right. So I know his name was mentioned earlier, but tonight we adjourn our meeting in memory of Edward DeLeo, a grants analyst at Saddleback College who passed away on January 2nd. Edward led the effort to secure a $2.3 million Department of Labor grant in 2014 and a Health Resources and Services Administration grant. He was a project coordinator for the AB 86 planning grant that transitioned local high school adult education programs to Saddleback College. His efforts were recognized in 2015 when he became a recipient of the President's Award for Innovation and Leadership. Edward was admired for his quick wit, ready smile, and positive outlook. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, friends, and colleagues. Thank you and good night.